presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
Fly break, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Swing and a miss. Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Fans being out there making this a great impact.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Oh man, we got a good show today. A packed show, plenty of great interviews, great content. This is Duck Insider. Happy to have you along with us here in the Country Financial Studio. I'm Chris Clayton filling in this week, and I'm really excited about this show. First of all, we're going to have Peyton Scott on in just a few minutes. She had a conversation that we recorded last week, and it worked out great because today is a big day for women's basketball. Actually, right now, live, Big Ten Network is releasing the full women's basketball schedule for the Ducks. You'll be able to stay tuned to the Oregon Women's Basketball social media channels, and they'll enlighten you on the specific dates. We already know the matchups, who Oregon's playing this year, but we'll know the entire schedule, non-conference and conference games in just an hour. So that's exciting. We'll talk with Peyton Scott about what to expect this year, all the new faces. We also have on Oregon men's golf coach Casey Martin. He came on and talked with Joey Mack, and this had an awesome conversation. So you're going to want to stay tuned to those interviews. Very interesting, engaging from those two. Big week in Oregon athletics, and it's last night even. Oregon volleyball, big win up the road in Portland, a sweep of Portland State. Ducks volleyball squad and Matt Ulmer with now 7 consecutive victories, and it took care of business. They were the favorite on paper. They were over the Vikings, and they hit better than 300. Some of the sets were, I shouldn't say some, all 3 of those sets were pretty close. They were competitive, but what was really stood out about the Ducks is how they finished those sets. They took care of business in the closing points down the stretch and did what they had to do. They had some early issues on serve, ended up racking up some early service errors, but they locked in, and from there got the sweep. And by the way, an attendance record at Viking Pavilion, more than 1,300 people. So, shout out to all the Duck fans in Portland. They were able to make that match and fill the stands there at Viking Pavilion with green and yellow to take in the Ducks, as Oregon is now number 12 in the country and has 7 consecutive wins. So Matt Ulmer and Oregon getting everything on track, and really impressive. They also held Portland State under 100 with the hitting percentage there, and Oregon continuing to block so well with 8 blocks. That's been something that has transformed for this Ducks team as the season's gone on, is their ability to block, and it was on full display once again last night. Also, I would say tonight, but it's more like this afternoon, Oregon women's soccer playing 4 p.m. They're playing at Rutgers. Match day for Graham Abel and the Ducks, as they got a big challenge. They're playing at Rutgers, and Rutgers is off to a really nice start, a 5-1-1 start to the season for Rutgers, and this would be it would be a marquee road win for the Ducks. They played so well, Oregon did, in their last outing against UCLA. They prove they can compete with the best the Big Ten has to offer. The UCLA Bruins are a contender this year to win the Big Ten, and Oregon had them on the ropes. They were up a goal into the final 10 minutes of that one, and just kind of let it slip away down the stretch. But they're playing Rutgers, who's number 21 in the RPI, and if they can play that full 90 minutes and those cliche you hear coaches talk about of being consistent, playing to the end, they've got a chance. And the stat here that's really stood out has been interesting for Oregon soccer. It's maybe an oversimplification, but the Ducks 4-0 when they outshoot opponents. It sounds simple. It sounds easy. It's not. Creating scoring chances. And obviously in soccer, it's not just about letting it rip and getting a shot on. It's also about quality scoring chances. But sometimes if you just maximize your opportunities, you never know what can happen off a bounce, off a deflection. So if Oregon can gain possession in the midfield, work it down the other way, and get shots consistently against the Rutgers, that's proven to be a success this year for Oregon in their 4 wins. Rutgers has only allowed 2 goals this year through the first 7 matches. So they're going to have to really bring it against a Rutgers team that's been pretty locked down this year, and volume in those quality chances. We'll see if Oregon can get it done. So best of luck to the Ducks soccer team in Piscataway, New Jersey. Got to learn how to say that because they're a Big Ten friend. Piscataway, New Jersey, Rutgers and Oregon soccer tonight at 4 p.m. We're going to go to an early break here in the show because we have so much content to get to. Up next, we talk Oregon women's basketball as their season is coming up in just over a month and kind of what to expect from that team. We hear from Ducks head coach of the men's golf team, Casey Martin, as well. This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Happy to have you along with us in the Country Financial Studio. Big week in hoops in the state of Oregon. Let's start there. The announcement coming, there is a WNBA team coming to the state of Oregon. They'll be up in Portland. And I know this is Duck Insider. Obviously, we talk Ducks, but what a win for basketball fans in the state of Oregon. And head coach Kelly Graves has talked about that publicly, about how excited he is about the opportunity for people in Oregon, right, to take in professional basketball. And also he said, opportunity for some of my players, the Ducks players, to go up the road and to the Moda Center to take in WNBA basketball and kind of be inspired. Just that connection and the love of basketball and of women's basketball and of women's sports in general in this state is on full display as Oregon, our great state, getting a WNBA team. Very exciting news there. Also exciting today, the full, or at least the detailed women's basketball schedule is being released. It's coming up in about an hour, so stay tuned to the Oregon women's basketball social media channels. We know the matchups in Big Ten play of who Oregon's going to be playing. We didn't have the dates. We will have these specific dates released here today. They'll be making trips to Illinois, to Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and a lot of home games, including the non-conference, which is available now online. You could check that out. A lot of home opportunities to watch Oregon. So we talked with Peyton Scott last week, and she gave us a terrific rundown of what to expect from her this year, coming back from a knee injury last year, and also what to expect from all of her new teammates. Bear with me here, okay? This is a new roster, a lot of new players. She name-dropped a lot of the new faces. So it's important that I establish who we're talking about here. And it's also very exciting for Oregon fans to hear about all the talent the Ducks have coming in next year. So let's start in the backcourt of what to expect for Oregon women's basketball next year. First of all, Peyton Scott. She is coming off the torn ACL in the season opener, heartbreaking last year. But she's back. She gets another year. And what she can do in terms of playmaking, shot creation, outside shooting, going to be huge for Oregon. And she's also a leader. Sophia Bell, she unfortunately went down, missed the second half of Pac-12 play last year. Probably would have been all defensive team selection of the Pac-12, certainly all freshman team with how she was playing. So we know what she brings to the table, very versatile, terrific defender. She comes back. One of the big names in the transfer portal, Deja Kelly from UNC. Everybody wanted her. Oregon got her. Kelly Graves and the coaching staff able to get Deja Kelly coming over, big name and all ACC selection there. A very versatile player, both ends of the floor, and she's going to be able to do a lot for Oregon, both on and off the basketball. How about Elisa Mevius? Gold medalist Elisa Mevius, part of the 3-on-3 German national team, MAC Defensive Player of the Year, where she averaged more than 3 steals per game. She's sure to be a factor in the backcourt. By the way, as we go through these names and these players, you will not be quizzed on this. I know it's a lot of information I'm throwing your way, but I'm just trying to give you some context and idea here of all the talent that the Ducks are bringing in next year. How about Nani Falatea from BYU, first team all-conference, 15 points a game scorer. Katie Fiso, people from the state of Washington and maybe even Oregon as well, very familiar with her. 4 state championships at Garfield High School in Seattle. Remember the other point guard who won 4 state championships coming out from Portland? Peyton Pritchard, I think that worked out pretty well. She's a winner, right? We'll see Katie Fiso in an Oregon uniform next year. Ari Long, she transfers over from UW, played a year there with the Huskies, and a former 4-star recruit. She averaged 35 points a game her senior year of high school in California, so she can score. So that's an outline of what the Ducks are dealing with in the backcourt. Let's go to the forwards. Faith Ihis Atute. She is from Germany and a player that can really rebound the basketball. She's invited in part of the Nike Hoops Summit World Team, and Kelly Graves raved about her. He said she will remind fans of Niara Sabali with how she plays. So a very kind comparison there. Sarah Rambis returns for the Ducks. We saw her versatility last year on full display. She was tough too. She's the only Duck that played every game last year for Oregon. She'll be back. Philly Che, the 6'8" center, who was honorable mention all Pac-12 last year, primed to be the potential one of the best centers in the country. And she's been working really hard this offseason. Should be a huge season ahead for Philly Che. Sammy Wagner returns for the Ducks. Remember, she was the hero of Oregon's win over Arizona at home with 2 clutch threes. Philippa Tilliander will return for the Ducks with another year under her belt. Alexis Whitfield transfers from UC Santa Barbara. First team All-Big West selection last year. Amina Muhammad transfers from Texas. She's a 6'4" forward who was part of the Elite 8 Texas Longhorn team last year where she started 20 games. Salamatu Karoma. Sali Karoma, an Arizona transfer, a former OVC Player of the Year at Arkansas Little Rock. Plenty of star potential from her with what she was able to do for Arizona last year, but also with that Little Rock team where she averaged nearly 20 points per game. Again, I know, a lot of information, a lot of players, but that's what Oregon's dealing with. A lot of star potential in the backcourt and in the front court. Plenty to be excited about, and the full Oregon women's basketball schedule is released later on today. Last week, we caught up with Peyton Scott, and she talked about what to expect this year. A terrific interview and one of the leaders for this Oregon Ducks basketball team. Our conversation with Peyton Scott. Let's talk basketball, right? And there's not a better way to do it. The point guard of Oregon women's basketball, Peyton Scott, in studio. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
So as Duck fans know, you went down in the season opener last year, but you're coming back this year.
That's right.
How do you feel? How's your knee doing? And what's that process been like coming back?
Man, I feel good. I feel great. I know on the way up here we talked about probably tired of hearing it, right? But I'm grateful that people care enough to ask, and I'm excited to be back. I feel 100%. I'm fully cleared, and I'm just getting acclimated back with the team and back with the game and the speed of everything, and just progressing back into being full go by the time the season starts.
And you came over from Miami of Ohio, and you've gone through a similar injury. You tore your ACL, but you've gone through kind of a similar injury in your other knee, right?
Yeah.
So did that kind of give you confidence knowing, hey, I've already come back from this once?
Yeah, of course. I think anytime you go through something once, you're able to kind of wrap your mind around what it's going to take to get back to where you want to be. And this time I definitely had time on my side, and I feel like I was able to take it with my trainers and my coaches just being understanding and helping me through that process. I just hit my 9-month mark a couple of days ago, so I'm excited that I was just able to be patient with the process and not have to rush it and just feel fully confident in both my knees coming back into it and just making sure I'm 100% when the season comes.
From an emotional perspective, how frustrating can that be, being limited and not being able to, not just playing games, but even do drills and practice and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, as a competitor, it's hard, and I've been through the process, especially the first time. I got to a point of where if I couldn't do it full go, then I just didn't want to do it because it's hard for me to go half speed at something or do it halfway or be on one and then off 5. Like it's very difficult for me. So early on in my first one, I was just kind of like, I'd rather not do it if I can't fully do it. And now I'm just understanding of sometimes the reps are good no matter how limited they may be. But emotionally, it was just being patient with myself and being understanding that the process can be a lot, but you just take it one day at a time. And I was grateful by the time I got back on the court, it felt like nothing happened. Like I was just back to the game, and I just took a little break.
And everybody's really excited to be able to watch you back now, just over a month away. Basketball season's coming up.
Yeah.
What's the off-season been? We'll talk about some of the transfers that have come in, but what's the off-season overall been like with everybody on the roster trying to mesh together and spend time with one another?
Man, it's been great. We've really used this summer and this off-season just to spend time, to bond, to get to know each other. We understand that we have 6 returners and 9 new people, so basically a new roster. And we've really spent time off the court, getting to know each other, just spending time together, going to dinners, going to a lot of movie nights, and just doing anything we can to make sure that chemistry's there. And when it comes to the court, we're seeing it take off. Our energy is great. Our chemistry is continuing to build, and now it's just learning each other a little better. But this past 4 weeks has been great, just laying a foundation of what we want the season to look like.
We're talking with Peyton Scott here on Duck Insider, and you said it, 9 new players on the roster. What was that like from your seat? You were one of the 6 returners. You knew you're coming back, but what's that like seeing all these new players come in, and what kind of role did you play in recruiting and pitching these potential new players?
Yeah, so postseason was a lot of visits, a lot of, how can we get Oregon women's basketball back to where we want to be? And I know I was only here for a year, but I still understand the standard. I still understand what it's like or what the expectations are like being on the Oregon women's basketball team, and how players before us have set an amazing foundation and expectation for where this program can be, and this community and these fans back us and support us no matter what. And after last season, we really just wanted to do whatever we could to make sure we set the bar high again and made sure the standard didn't drop. And so these new people have just brought a new energy. It's been rejuvenating. It's been awesome just to get to know new faces and have new skill sets. But through the process, it was just finding the right people for our program. Skill and talent is one thing, but just making sure the character was there as well. And I feel like we really did that with the 9 new people that came in.
Peyton Scott, Kelly Graves said, you're going to be a great coach one day when you're done playing college and professional, and you can see it. And what is it about Oregon? You know, you've only been here, a year and a half now, but that you love the program so much that you're doing what you can to uphold the standards and help get the program back on track.
Absolutely. I just really love the tradition in the community and just how invested they are in their players and how they want us to be pros one day. They want us to be great people one day. They want us to give back. And I know Kelly has a thing. Anytime someone comes in the gym, make sure you introduce yourself, because you never know who you might need in life. You never know who they are, where they come from. And there's so many people that give to this program and that give back to us. And we're in a very unique position. And it's just about gratitude. It's just about, putting on for the community that is continuing to put on for you, and especially after last year, how they continue to support us, how they continue to show up for the games. And I know this team, we want to move forward, but it does say a lot, sitting on the bench and still seeing 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people in the crowds, no matter wins or losses, no matter the score, that we're still showing up for us. And I think throughout, especially this offseason, it really just motivated me to want to do my best and just to want to give back to them.
So for Duck fans, what should they expect in terms of style of play? What are the Ducks going to look like this year on the court?
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of energy. We're gonna have a lot of energy. We're gonna be up in people. We're gonna be fast. We're gonna be running the floor. We're very guard heavy, and I'm excited about that because we're gonna be able to get up and down. We're gonna be able to run a lot of different sets and players at different areas, but hopefully we don't have to call too much because we're just getting those transition buckets. But on the other end, on defense, we're going to be getting up in people. We're going to be loud. We're going to be team-oriented and helping each other and just really relying on our next man to step up. And I'm excited for that because we're going to be deep this year, and we're going to have a lot of playmakers and a lot of options and a lot of versatile pieces that can play a lot of different ways. And especially going into the Big Ten, I'm excited for the roster we're bringing in.
Yeah, speaking of going to the Big Ten, you're from Ohio, so you're from that area. What's that like for you when you learn the Ducks are joining the Big Ten, and now you're going to have some road games closer to home?
Man, I can't tell you how excited I am. It was hard moving away from home. It was hard because my family they came to every game unless it was on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock and it was in Chicago or something. They just couldn't make it, but my family always supports me and shows up for me and my community, and so I'm excited to get to go back home and play at Ohio State and play at Illinois and Michigan State and just places where I know they're going to be able to come to and see our games and see me play at this level. And just, yeah, man, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it worked out, right? I mean, you take the risk, you go out to Oregon,
right.
And you still get some games that your family can come to. That's so really cool. Yeah. And for home games, what do you think of the new floor at MKA?
It's nice, Chris.
You like it?
It's nice. It's nice. The first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, this is the best court in the country.
Yes.
Hands down. I know there was some controversy on the last court, but
right.
There shouldn't be no controversy on this court because it's awesome. It's unique. It's something to be proud of, and I'm excited to play on it.
Yeah, I think everybody's excited about that new design, the floor there at Matthew Knight Arena. Also excited about part 2 of our conversation with Peyton Scott. We continue as we preview the Oregon women's basketball season on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D. That means the do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means the do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby.
Back on Duck Insider, talking about Oregon women's basketball as its schedule release day for the Ducks. The non-conference schedule is already out. The full details of the dates and the schedule, everything coming out very soon at about probably a half hour or so on the Oregon women's basketball social media channels. You can check that out. Part 2 of our conversation with Oregon's senior point guard Peyton Scott here on Duck Insider. And you talked about, as we continue our conversation with Peyton Scott here on Duck Insider, the new players and with the returners, the 15 players on this roster, and how you're trying to kind of build chemistry, spending time together, maybe watching movies together. Why is that important, and how does that help you on the court?
Yeah, it's super important. I would say the main reason is because when you want to build that team chemistry and you want to build that trust, it really starts with knowing each other, and we can't always do that on the court because we don't always have those intimate conversations, that time where it's just getting to know each other and getting to know us as people and not just basketball players. So off the court, I feel like we've really taken the time to get to know how each other might respond, how we interact, and just people's personalities. And on the court, it's huge because it's not always sunshine and butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're going to have to get on each other. Sometimes we're going to have to, hold a standard and hold people accountable. And that's where that off-court chemistry really comes in, knowing that we can hold each other accountable, knowing that it's not personal, knowing we all have the end goal of wanting to win and wanting to be the best that we can be. And so that's where that bridge of on the court, off the court dynamic really comes in. And at the end of the day, we all want to be at our best and we all want to be the best team that we can be. And so that off-court chemistry, just getting to know each other, really plays an impact when we get to the court, just being able to have that accountability piece, knowing that nothing's personal.
Mm-hmm.
We want to win and we want to be the best, and to do that, it's going to take some hard conversations.
A lot of new players with accolades, with talent.
Absolutely.
Who, in your time, you've been able to practice and work with your new teammates? Who's really stood out? Do you think it's going to have a big impact this year for the Ducks?
Yeah, I'll start with the guards because I think we're going to have a lot of great guard play.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have Nani coming in. You have Deja coming in. You have Ari, who's going to be a great shooter. You have Katie Fiso, freshman, coming in. Obviously, Sophia Bell returning. And, we got a gold medalist that's not even here yet.
Yeah.
So,
she's a little busy.
A little busy. I don't know if she'll come back with the gold medal or not, but I hope so.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but it's just where do you not start? Who's not going to make an impact? And so it's down the line that we have so many options and so many versatile players. And I think they've all come in and really just made an immediate impact and just really been open to feedback and learning, but also wanting to set their own standard, which I've also appreciated, bringing their own skill sets. And we've all really tried to learn to play off each other, which has been great. But yeah, that guard play is gonna be awesome this year. Gonna have a great backcourt,
Mm-hmm.
and just being able to run and get out. So I've loved that. And then you go into your swing players. You got Lexi, who's gonna be a great swing player for us, versatile. You got Amina, who's gonna run the floor so great, which I'm excited about. You got Say returning, and yeah, obviously you got Philly, and we all know what she can do.
Right.
So. Yeah, it's just been great. And then you got another freshman in Ahis who's going to come in and get you extra possessions, which is something you need in the Big Ten. It's blue collar, it's hard-nosed basketball. And then you got Solly from Arizona, who's just going to be a lockdown defender for us and be someone that's not going to let anyone have anything easy. And so I'm really excited for our roster. just how deep we are at so many positions and just the versatility of this team.
That's what I was going to say. Versatility was the word I was going to use. It feels like you can use multiple looks, different lineups on the floor. How much do you think that'll help?
Man, I mean, just being able to, like, mix everything up. Again, in the Big Ten, it's a very – you're either getting to the basket or it's your stretch fours or shooting threes, you know? So just that versatility, especially being able to potentially switch 1 through 5 at times or 1 through 4 and just spreading the court. And, you know, it's not one person always coming back to get the ball, but just being able to get up and down and knowing that we can swing a lot of players different ways is going to be great for us. And I think the more that we're able to understand that, you know, we might have people that can play 2, 3, and 4, but it's really just understanding those positions. And the more that we can get reps at those and understand that, you know, we might go small and we might have Soph playing a 4 this year, you know, which is different. And so I think the more we're just able to recognize that and understand lineups and get reps in those positions, we're going to be a lot better off and we're going to surprise a lot of teams.
On the big picture, this is your 6th year in college basketball.
Oof.
How have you
Hey,
that's part of it. I mean, it's how have you seen everything change? Because in your career, a lot's happened, right? You had the COVID season. You had the growth of NIL and the transfer portal. Whether it's on or off the court, how have you seen college basketball change? Or maybe from your seat, it hasn't changed much at all.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I would agree. I've been around the block. You know, I've seen a lot. I just think, man, what? Yeah, just how women's sports in general has taken off, and especially women's basketball spearheading that has been amazing. I think the buzz around us, the attention that we're starting to get, it's all great. And I hope that we continue to elevate the game and that we continue to bring eyes to the sport and that young girls one day can look up to us and know that, you know, there's opportunities for them. And so that's been super cool for me just to kind of see that journey come to a head and continue to, you know, make way and make progress. But the journey's been amazing. Yeah, college basketball, it's on the up, and it's continued to rise, and it's continued to turn a lot of heads and bring a lot of eyes to what we're doing. And I think for me, as someone who came from a mid-major to a program like Oregon, you know, there's a different feel to it. There's a different attention to it. And so I've just appreciated how even at this level, like, we're getting the recognition that's there, and I just hope that we continue to do things the right way. There's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of adapting to medias, to environments, especially to the Big Ten and what that's going to be. But I hope we just see it as opportunity and not something that's going to be, you know, how are we going to do it? It's going to be so hard. How are you going to make it happen? Like, I think being a part of the Big Ten's an amazing thing. And so just continue to make progress and take one step forward and just grow the game in the right way. But it's been awesome to see throughout my 6 years of college.
November 1st, year 6 begins. Very exciting. I can't wait. Are you excited?
Man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It doesn't feel like I took a year off.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to get back out there. Even to play with the team has been, you know, it's been cool. It's been something that you realize you might have taken for granted. And so I'm trying to just be present as much as I can every day. And when the games start, just really take in, you know, that this is my last year. And, you know, we're going to put a good roster out there for the community. So I'm excited.
Oregon point guard, Peyton Scott. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Let's go Ducks.
A great representative to preview the Oregon women's basketball season. Peyton Scott, the senior, part of a really talented team for the Ducks this season. Just start to open up a pocket of your brain. I know you're like, man, it's football season, it's volleyball season, it's soccer season. There's only so much brain space I have. Well, just start to move stuff over and figure it out because basketball's coming. November 1st will be the opener for Oregon women's basketball, and men's basketball starting around that time as well. Oregon men's golf is in action as well. When we come back, we hear from Ducks head coach Casey Martin on Duck Insider from the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, live in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Chris Clayton here with you. Men's golf is in action on Monday and Tuesday. They'll be in Mammoth, Washington, playing in the Tyndall. That'll be at Aldara Golf Club. But they're off to a nice start this year. Aiden Kraft, the junior, was the Big Ten Golfer of the Week last week. He took first place at the Sahali Players Championship, so the Ducks as a team trying to ride that momentum and play well again Monday and Tuesday. Joey Mack caught up with Ducks men's golf head coach Casey Martin.
Okay, so a little bit of inside the broadcast as we get started here. So your team coach is doing qualifying these couple days. We're talking on a Tuesday morning. Casey Martin, Oregon men's golf head coach, is here with us. So let's just start there, Coach. Take us inside the process here as classes are about to start, but your team's already ramped up, ready to go. Just take fans through the process for your squad right now.
Yeah, September is a lot of golf for us because there's no school and we have multiple tournaments, so we play a lot of golf, practice a lot. We just got back from Seattle for a big event, and then kind of had a few days to breathe, and then we're back qualifying. So our qualifiers are basically like a tournament amongst ourselves to get ready, and then to find out who's going to be playing exactly. And so we had 2 kids exempt based on the first event, and then we're playing for a couple spots, and then Coach Q and I will pick the others. So
I was kind of curious about that. You have to create that tournament environment within your own team. You do that throughout the course of the season, don't you?
We like to do that a lot, and qualifying's the easiest way to do that. You just create a little tournament, but we also do that a lot in practice too. Golf is an individual sport, but there's a lot of value in playing with the pressure of having a teammate and doing things. So we like to add that juice to it a lot instead of just go, hey, practice by yourself all day. We try to do competitive challenges to make practice harder than what tournaments would be like. I don't know if we do that, but we try.
Well, I mean, you have to, though, right? Yeah. I mean, because the nerves that you feel in a tournament with that competition, that's really what you're trying to create, right? Like, you want a little shaky hand on the putter, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and I forget who made this quote. I think it was a long-time famous player, but he said there's golf and there's tournament golf,
right?
And they're not the same.
Right.
And that's really true. I've got a lot of great golfers on my team, but I'm really looking for 5 great tournament players, and it's not easy to do because you're dealing with the pressure and the nerves and all that and the concentration, it really comes out. So we do a lot of that kind of prep to try to define who those best players are and also develop them.
Bigger picture, when you're on the recruiting trail, how do you spot the difference between a good golfer and a good tournament golfer?
Well, normally we watch tournament golf, and so, I mean, you're seeing kids compete. But it's the difference between really looking at a golf swing and their power versus what they shoot. So it's a yin and a yang. I mean, they're both really important. I've tended to, I think every coach lands more on what do you shoot.
What do you shoot?
Yeah, because that translates a little better than other things, but not always. Sometimes kids peak early and you really have to wade through that, and you can see the talent even though they're not there yet. So I don't have a crystal ball. I've been fortunate sometimes, and I've whiffed a few times, but it's fun to try to figure it out.
You're such a humble guy every time that I've talked to you, but now I'm going to ask I guess the more hard-hitting question if I could here, Coach. Talking golf with head coach Casey Martin. So how do you, though, go about coaching up the tournament feeling? Is there a secret sauce to that, different for every player? What's your experience been trying to coach up that competition?
So we'll do competitive things. We'll have little games and reward guys, the way we can. And it's also an element of both me and Jeff Quinney, my assistant, and our vibe out there.
Yeah.
So we're not all throwing high fives, making jokes in practice sometimes. Sometimes we can kind of bark at the guys to try to create that tension so that the guys feel like, whoa, it feels different. And not that we do that a lot, but there's times where I'm standing there and I'm stern and I want the kids to feel a certain way because that's how you're going to feel, you know. And I tell them a lot, it's like, if you can't handle that piece of me folding arms, staring at you, what are you going to do when there's a camera? What are you going to do if you turn pro and you have $100,000 on the line? You know, it feels way worse than me.
Yeah.
So we just try to do little things, and we just try to do it a lot. I mean, it's not perfect, but we do try to do that because it is the one really neat thing about college golf is you're a team.
It's a team.
And unless you make the Walker Cup or the Ryder Cup, there's no team golf, really.
Right.
And so we try to create what that allows is to create some tension and some pressure.
In team sports, you hear the phrase, and there's different ways to say it, but essentially iron sharpens iron.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good way to say it.
How much does the collegiate model, I suppose, because it's a little unique in the team golf, really, I guess, lend itself to that philosophy for you?
I think so, and I think that's why you see some of these kids that come out that are so ready.
Yeah.
They just every day they're just competing every day in college, both tournament and amongst themselves. And so they're ready. It used to be a little bit of a knock on college golf. It's like, hey, you can't really develop a guy mechanically because you're always competing, and there's some truth to that. But what's happening is these elite kids are getting great instruction from 10 years old by the time they get to college.
Right.
So a lot of that's already taken place, and now it's just refine them and get them ready.
Do you find that collegiately then, how important is the depth of your roster? We're going to talk about this year's roster in a moment. How important is the depth for this exact reason that we're just describing?
Well, I think, I mean, if you gave me 5 first-team All-Americans, I'd be content to just be like,
they're going to make each other better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, we have more than that, and it's fun to see the young kids compete to try to get a spot to even be an individual at an event, and then they grow into trying to get on the team, and then once they're on the team, they try to grow to win a tournament. So there's steps you gotta take, and it's fun to watch them.
A lot of golf already. Talking with head coach Casey Martin, men's golf team. You got the Players Championship, Sahaley Players Championship in Sammamish, one tournament in the books. Just some general takeaways.
I was pleased. I mean, I made potentially a mistake. Hopefully not, but we have a really hard schedule this year.
Yeah.
And the way these schedules work, when you get into some of these elite events, if you say no, it's hard to get back in. So you kind of got to say yes. Sahaley being one of those events that was really special. They put on a great tournament. It's an incredible golf course. And when they gave us that invitation, I didn't want to turn it down because you may never get back in. The problem is we also go back up to Washington for another tough event. Then we go to Colonial for the Ben Hogan event, which is the toughest event. And then it just never lets up. So there's been a little bit of angst on my end because we might have bitten off a little more than we can chew right now. But the guys competed great, and Aiden had a major breakthrough for a young man that had been knocking on the door but hadn't broken through and had kind of been frustrated about that. And then to see him win his first college event in a field like that is pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, so that's Aiden Kraft. Recently, we were talking about this on the show last week, named Big Ten Men's Golfer of the Week. What'd you see from him? That's a cool thing, it sounds like.
You know, it's funny how golf works. Aiden's been working really hard. So we have this new facility, the Jake, and he's there like 7 a.m. every morning, which is awesome because it's on his own, and he's been working, asking a lot of questions, and it just kind of came together. A big shout out to Coach Quinney, too. Jeff went around with him that entire last round and tried to squelch any nerves and just basically caddied for him, told him the things that a guy like Jeff had experienced from playing on the tour and winning at the level he has, of the little things like, hey, walk a little slower, hey, take a deeper breath, things that you don't think are that important until you're trying to win a golf tournament, and they become very important. So big shout out there because I think Jeff did a great job with him and was able to just calm him down and keep him focused. And when you do that, your talent can kind of come out easier. But Aiden did a great job.
Okay, so a little bit of inside the broadcast as we get started here.
Yeah, Aiden Kraft with a first-place finish there at the Sahali Players Championship. Our coaches' interviews brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Part 2 of the conversation with Casey Martin next on Duck Insider.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, the Country Financial Studio. The Ducks playing in the Tyndall Monday and Tuesday at Eldora Golf Club in Sammamish, Washington. Part 2 of the conversation with Oregon head coach Casey Martin and Joey Mack.
How often are you talking to student athletes about those sorts of things, like to make the moment not be quite so big, I guess?
Yeah, I think you're right. Like in practice, we try to make it bigger than it is.
Right, and then in the tournament, you want to bring it back.
Yeah, exactly.
So golf is, I think everyone would probably agree with this, that it is one of, if not the most mental sports.
Yeah.
As a golfer, you're
a pitcher every shot. You're a field goal kicker every shot. And so you really have to have that process. You've got to have that clarity of your mind. And when you hit a bad shot, you got to have a short memory, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. You get into a rhythm. The more you play, you get better at it. But when you don't play a lot and you get thrown into it for the first time, it's really hard.
Let's talk a little bit about your roster as a whole here. Mentioned that you're about, a little less than a week away from the Husky Invitational. Break down the roster for us. What should fans know?
Well, I mean, we've got Aiden, obviously, is a junior, broken through. Grayson Leach is has been probably our number one player. Grayson had a good event up there as well, 6th. Grayson's a kid also that I would put similar to Aiden in like super good, hasn't broken through maybe to the level that I know he's capable of. He won the Southern California Amateur 2 years ago with a record-breaking performance, broke Tiger's records. So he's got the talent. It's just a function of him just continuing to mature. And then Eric Doyle, another senior who was honorable mention All Pac-12 last year, and a very, very skilled player. So those 3 are kind of my big 3, so to speak. And then we have some unknowns on the back end of some young kids that are going to get a chance, and some guys that have been in the program that have been knocking on the door. So we'll get to see that throughout the fall and see who steps up.
You know, you touched on like guys that have been in the program trying to break through. Like, for you as a coach, how rewarding is that process even? Like, to see a guy that's been with you a few years and then they do knock on the door, they bust that door open. That's got to be a rewarding part of your job.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a kid like Daniel Bolin, who played for us up there. Daniel redshirted last year and didn't play his freshman year, and so he's a junior but a sophomore eligibility-wise,
right.
and had done some great things last year, shot 62 at Eugene Country Club in a qualifying round, even though he wasn't going to play because he was redshirting, but you could see the talent, and so he got in there and won the qualifier actually, which was awesome. Had a struggle the first round, but kind of got punched in the mouth a little bit by Sahali, which happens.
It'll do that.
But then he finished with a great round of 70, and we had a really nice finish. So just to see that and to see how he's going to come up and hopefully help us this year.
It's been a few years now for every sport to manage rosters with the transfer portal. How has that changed collegiate golf in your experience so far? It
has. It's probably – so you could say that college golf has had that for a long time. We've had a one-time transfer rule forever. So, but it's more – now it's so open and accepted that kids are bouncing, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes that you know, I don't love, but it is what it is, and we have to adjust. And we've been able to get some transfers. We have a young man, Jeffrey Quack. He actually pronounced his name Quack, but
you got to call him.
Yeah,
Quack.
I tell him, I'm like, look, we've got to change this because it's Quack now.
Yeah.
And so he came in via the portal and did a nice job for us, and is going to help us this year. So every team's doing it, and if you don't. You got to, because a lot of these transfers they've matured, and you know they're men versus boys in some respect, and and so you need to have some of that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say again, KWAK.
Yeah.
It's about as good as it can get, Coach.
It really is. So my story about Jeff is kind of interesting. I didn't really recruit him.
Oh, okay.
And partly because I was going through my trials and tribulations. I was a little off the grid, and so I went to the Western Junior last year, and he was there, and he was on the range, and I'm looking at his name, Quack, and he's hitting these shots that are incredible. And he had already committed to another school, and I'm just scratching my head going, what were you doing? How do you not recruit this guy? His name is Quack, and he looked amazing. And so I made a note of that, and then when he hit the portal, I called him right away. So it worked out, and he's a Duck now.
But
Quack's a Duck.
I love that. So welcome, to the other spelling of Quack now. So he will obviously be hearing this the rest of his career now, and he'll probably never hear his last name actually pronounced right, which I should say, like, as a broadcaster, you know this, Coach, like, it's the last thing you want to do is say someone's name wrong.
But you do.
But you do. Exactly.
But you
do in this moment. But to that point, Coach, like, relationship so important in every industry. It sounds like especially in that case, right? Like that's a huge deal.
Well, I didn't have a relationship with him.
But you knew of him.
Well,
right?
I was out there and I watched him, and like you said, it was a head turning. I was like, whoa. And these kids grow too. Like when I saw Quack probably when he was young, he didn't look like he did after puberty came along.
Right.
And he's a big kid, and he was just pounding it. And I remember really making a note to myself, like, kind of criticizing myself, like, what were you doing? How did you not recruit this guy?
Yeah.
And so I feel fortunate to have him now.
Yeah. All right. Now, larger picture again, just some keys to success, Coach. What do you want to see the rest of the fall and then heading into spring?
That's a great question. For me, the big thing that I've learned as a coach is simplicity. The simpler you can make it, the easier your talent can come out. So it's been a challenge for me as a coach because I want to share everything. I want to help so much. I have to really be like, chill out. That's one thing I've learned through 18 years. There's a time to do it, but it's probably not now. So we're just playing a lot. I'm evaluating a lot. And then when the fall kind of mellows out, then we'll try to develop some guys and where they need it. But for right now, it's just play, and score, and see where we're at.
We've talked before about like the scouting report on a course is so important in golf. So so it sounds like maybe this is let's not get to that just yet. Just let them play. Like, I don't know. What's that balancing act as a coach? Because you don't want to overshare information like you alluded to, right?
Yeah, no, it's been a challenge because that's what I want to do. My heart is to share everything I've ever learned and just lay it down.
Here's why to hit this in this situation.
It rarely helps.
Really?
So, I mean, golf's a mental game, and everyone's coming from a different place. So what worked for me may not be exactly what they need. So you just kind of got to let it. Over time, you really sense like, okay, he needs to do this. But in the short term, I've been wrong before, and I just, like I said, this fall, we're not going to do a lot of swing work. We're going to let them play. We're going to evaluate a lot. We've got some big decisions to make coming down the pike with everything that's changing, and we're going to let these kids play it, and then we'll pull them aside when we have time to be like, hey, let's tweak this.
Yeah. Tournaments continue through the final week of October, then the winter break before resuming in February. It is a year-long sport. Even though your championship's in the spring, it's a year-round.
It is year-round, and these kids have a summer schedule. I mean, it never ends. So, we're going.
Big Ten, last question.
Yeah.
Just how has that changed so far? Does it change much with the tournaments that you play? I know golf's a little unique in that regard.
Yeah, I think we're the least affected team. And it's great to be in the Big Ten. I mean, it's an awesome conference. We play tournaments, and there's some Big Ten teams. There's some SEC teams. There's some ACC teams. We just play tournaments all year, and then instead of going to the Pac-12 championship, we're going to go to Baltimore this year for the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And, there's some challenges from travel that way, but it's one event, and we'll get through it fine.
Great stuff. Casey Martin, head coach, Oregon Men's Golf. Best of luck back up in the state of Washington. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
really
appreciate
Thanks.
it. Appreciate it.
All right, well, thanks to Joey Mack and Oregon Men's Golf head coach Casey Martin. All right, good show. Ducks volleyball got the win last night, a sweep at Portland State. Mimi Collier, part of the AVCA National Player of the Year watch list. That was announced today, one of the best players in the country, earning that award. Oregon soccer coming up, a couple hours. They're playing at Rutgers at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Best of luck to them. We're excited about tomorrow's show. We'll do picks. We got some audio from Oregon baseball as well. Thanks for joining us from the Country Financial Studio. I'm Chris Clayton. This was Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union.